take a seat, grab a beer. It's time for another chilled conversations with JD. And today we're talking about the hype behind hype beers and whether they have really any relevance in 2025. So hello and welcome to another video on JD's Booze Reviews. As I mentioned, it is a conversation video. It is a chilled conversation. It's one of these episodes I do where I'm not in the kitchen and it's just spending a bit of time talking to the camera about whatever I want to speak about. And today, as I mentioned, we're talking about hype beers. We're talking about whether hype beers are relevant and indeed whether they really should be all that hyped about. It's quite a contentious topic around hype beers, because for those that don't know with hype beers, so these are these beers that everyone raves about. They have yearly releases of them. They only come out once a year and they get snapped up from the web shop in about 2 seconds flat. So the beer that sprung to mind to make me think about this topic and start talking about it was the latest release of Putty. So Putty 2025 by Verdant. Great beer. Great, really, really good beer. But it is one of these hype beers that releases every single year. There's a big hubbub about it. And, like I say, they go up on the web shop at 10 o'clock and by 10:05 it's completely sold out. Fair enough, really good for the brewery, really good marketing and a really good sort of way to make some extra cash and a way to speak up in the market. But I had Putty the other day at my local sort of craft beer tap room. I had Putty, and my thoughts on it were basically that it tastes as good as any of the other sort of beers from other breweries of that style that I've had. There was nothing particularly special about it. It didn't blow my mind. It didn't set the world apart from other these. It was a double IPA, I believe. And I've had double IPAs, I've had plenty of them, and it tasted very much like a lot of the other double IPAs. Which then brings in the fact of whether this is still relevant, whether it's sort of a marketing side of things, marketing gimmick. I mean, of course it is. The breweries want to try and stand out from the crowd. They want to make themselves heard and known, and people go to them rather than X, Y, or Z. And yeah, I kind of see that from a business perspective, but from a public perspective, hype beers, I think, are no longer relevant. They used to be back when Putty first released in the first couple of years. I'm pretty sure those sort of beers weren't as commonly found. Whereas now you can find double IPAs, imperial stouts, or whatever, pretty much in any craft beer bar. They're not. You can find them literally anywhere. They're 10 to a dozen. Is that a phrase? Yeah, you know what I mean. But it then brings the fact of people rave about these beers. People go searching for these hype beers, but there could be something really good of the same quality by an independent brewery that is getting overlooked because this big hype beer is releasing, and it coincidentally came the time that they released their version of a double IPA or whatever it is, an imperial stout. So, in the past couple of years, I used to get really into these hype beers. I used to go, yes, I need this. I need to get it, and essentially paid however much it came to. But to these days, I do think it's really not something I care about anymore. I'd rather try a similar beer by a local independent brewery that's, 10, 15, 20 miles away from me than one that's from down south and they just release it every year and people rave about it. So that was just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. See if you agree with me. See what your points are. Let's have a discussion about this. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers!